And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win, the week of Who Would Win. Unfortunately, I made a bit of an error. I mentioned in the last video I have a planner, a day planner that I write all these in, days, weeks, the videos I do on those days. Unfortunately, it all kind of like clumped together in the middle, so I actually ended up doing today's video and yesterday's video, the Who Would Win, were actually for next Wednesday and Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday. So I'm just going to swap them. So there you go. Unfortunately, I cannot find, this happens every once in a while, where I thought I wrote down the person's name who gave me the suggestion, but I must have gotten distracted at some point. I might have to walk away or whatever. But if someone gives me their name for whoever did it, I will put it in the comments below. Or I always say comments below, description box. About Akuma versus the Shredder. Look, this is one of those fights that I would consider putting in the speed round, because as strong as even the most powerful versions of the Shredder are, and they are very powerful, power output wise, Akuma can beat any of them. Akuma literally can blow up an island. Shredder, even on his best days, is not that strong. And Akuma also actually has energy attacks. He literally is capable of more or less key blasting someone. Now, if I were to just break this down on a skill level, well, okay, that's a little different. Shredder, we know, is not just a martial artist. He's a master martial artist. He is a skilled ninja. I like the, by the way, I always like the 90s version of the Shredder. It's just a badass looking Shredder. But yeah, I mean, if he's fighting Akuma, like in just hand-to-hand combat, I'd be inclined to say from a skill perspective, Shredder might actually be more skilled than Akuma. And that's no slight at Akuma, because Akuma is extremely skilled in martial arts. I don't know what that was about, but, just, martial arts. But, no, legit, like, both these guys are, it's either a wash in terms of who's more skilled, or I think Shredder takes the skill aspect in it. He's also got better weapons. He actually uses weapons and ninja tools, smoke bombs, shurikens. I don't think he uses kunai because he's got blades literally on every part of his body. He's armored. Granted, this version, by the way, of the Shredder is actually a Krang alien, which I can't remember the name of it, but he's actually a Krang. But still, every version of Shredder is capable of, moving in a blink of an eye faster than the eye can see, more or less. They're capable of taking immense amounts of damage. But the problem, I think, comes in a fight like this, even if Shredder does have the skill and weapon advantage, and is that A, they're both equally ruthless, so you can't bring that into the equation. But B, Akuma is physically, stat-wise, pretty much goes pound for pound with Shredder and beyond. Like, physically, like I said, this is a guy who could split an island without, I believe, the usage of ki, or that was the usage of using his ki as well. Either way, physical strength-wise, he can easily match Shredder without any difficulty. And speed-wise, both these guys are bullet timing, no problem. Both these guys are moving so fast, it should be, might as well considered subsonic. Then you factor in, whereas he doesn't have weapons on call, Akuma, he does have access to, like I said, ki, chi, whatever you want to call it. He can use energy attacks. And then there's the Satsui no Hada, which can literally destroy your soul, which Shredder really doesn't have a counter towards. Add on to the fact Akuma also has the Oni form, which is in essence kind of a weird Super Saiyan form. I mean, it's not a Super Saiyan form, let's be very clear, but it's a transformation form, he goes Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan Oni, which would be a cool concept as a Super Saiyan. But yeah, I think what it really just comes down to is is just overwhelming power versus skill. And skill, sadly, doesn't always beat overwhelming power. Just doesn't. And when the individual you're fighting also has at least comparable skills to you, even if Shredder does edge him out in, say, hand-to-hand combat and tactics, it's not by a large margin. The biggest margin of difference between them is probably intellect. He is definitely the smarter of the two, and he definitely has more tactical experience and tactical knowledge in how to strategize. But that's not to say Akuma's stupid in that category. It's just between the two, one's a ninja and one's a street fighter. But that only goes so far when maybe you hold a slight edge in hand-to-hand combat, but the guy is either as fast, if not faster than you, and definitely more powerful in terms of sheer strength. Not to mention he has techniques like energy attacks and the Satsui no Hata, which can destroy your soul, that you have no proper counter for. Akuma also is not stupid in the sense of, I'm just going to let you slice me up. If I can avoid it, I don't want to get sliced up. But that doesn't mean that he would, what's the best way to put it? That doesn't mean he wouldn't get sliced up in the fight if he saw an opening, or if or Shredder could get an opening and slice him up. These two would be going at it for a while. It ultimately comes down to who wants it more. It always comes down to that, really. But more importantly, when the gloves are off, who's throwing out the bigger bombs? Who's throwing out the bigger haymakers? Who's throwing out the bigger shots? And in that regard, it is Akuma. He literally just has far more power at his disposal than the Shredder does. I do not know. Even if I went with Super Shredder, any interpretation of it, physically then he might surpass Akuma to a certain degree, but Akuma still has the Satsui no Hata and his Oni form. And he can still do massive F-off explosions. So at that point, like, just straight physical stats, maybe they tie, and maybe he edges out Akuma in the physical stats at that point, but then Akuma just brings in his trump card and annihilates his ass. I really think this would, I'm not saying Shredder can't take a win, but the only way Shredder takes a win if he's acting like a ninja and not a warrior, which is not to say he couldn't act like that or wouldn't act like that. It's just a matter of if that's going to be the majority. And I don't think it's going to be the majority of the time. He is a man of honor, and therefore, if they go toe-to-toe, he will honor that. And I think his honor would bite him in the ass there. Akuma also has a sense of honor, too. It's just that his honor doesn't handicap him in the fight. If Shredder acts like a ninja, there is a chance on his side. But it's not a large chance. It is not the majority. I think the majority of the time, it is going to be Akuma who takes this fight. So, ultimately, I'd go Akuma in the fight, but who do you got? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, though. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks next time. Later.